Hi, I'm Molly.
And I'm Jamie, and this is our From the Pasture with Hired Hand podcast. As the owners of Hired Hand website software, we've been developing websites and creating internet marketing strategies for livestock breeders for the past 10 years.
The majority of our customers are involved in the breeding of registered animals, such as Texas Longhorns, Highland cattle, horses, and white-tailed deer, where the pedigrees are very important. The From the Pasture with Hired Hand podcast examines many of the differences in raising pedigreed livestock for maximum profit. Join us and learn what we're covering today.
All right, Jamie. So today we're going to dig into the world of online-only sales. And at the time that we're recording this podcast, we're actually preparing for several right in a row. Do you want to tell us about those?
Yeah, we have 3 sales that will be happening the end of August into September. One is the Williams Ranch retirement sale. The other one is the HP Ranches online Longhorn auction that with Jason Hartpence. And then the last one that we have going on in September is the Freeman Jarnigan online sale with a Justin Hansen retirement sale. So we have those 3, in progress or coming up.
So today what we're going to do is we're going to talk a little bit about the benefits of having an online-only sale, as well as how they differ from live consignment sales. And a lot of what we're going to cover is also highlighted in a recent article that we wrote for the TLBA Texas Longhorn Trails magazine. So if you're someone that would rather read than listen, you can also find it there.
As you mentioned, this is an article that was in the TLBA Trails, but we should advise that this is not for breeders participating in consignment sales and does not advise breeders to stop consigning in those types of sales. Instead, it aims to highlight an additional bulk sale opportunity for breeders with many head to sell at one time.
Right. So nobody come at us. We love our live events. We love our auctioneers and our pedigree readers and our bid callers, all of that, but that's just not what we're talking about today.
Can we jump in?
Let's do it. All right. So let's talk about what an online-only sale is. So an online-only sale refers to a sales event that is conducted exclusively through a digital platform, such as Hired Hand Live, where an individual breeder offers their registered livestock for purchase directly by potential buyers. Unlike consignment auctions that incorporate internet bidding alongside of physical bidding, an online-only sale eliminates the physical component entirely and relies solely on virtual transactions.
So in this format, individual breeders present their animals through detailed listings. That can include photographs, videos that they've recorded of the animals, walking around in the pasture so people can see that, descriptions, pedigrees, and any other pertinent information for the interested buyers to elevate or directly purchase or compete to purchase.
These types of sales can run for a set amount of time, such as one day, a number of hours, 3 or 4 days, whatever the customer wants, or they can be live with an auctioneer calling in to do audio from anywhere, not needing to be on site for their role. There's no limit to the number of head that a breeder can offer for sale, at least not with our system with Hired Hand Live. And some ranchers even choose to also offer for sale semen, equipment, or other types of products besides just registered cattle. One example of this would be earlier this year, the Texas Longhorn Breeders Association and the Horn Showcase Committee had an online auction, an online-only auction that they used as kind of a fundraiser for the Horn Showcase event. So that's a great example of offering, other items for sale as well.
The entire sale process, from showcasing the animals to finalizing transaction, occurs solely online, creating a streamlined and effective experience for both breeders and buyers. Molly, I'd say out of all these different types of sales that you just mentioned, I think the most popular that we have noticed for people is to have a sale that runs for 3 to 4 days. We've had at least one of them, I think, that has chose to do time bidding in the sense that once the sale is over, if there's people actively bidding towards the end, once they bid, the sale will be extended for, I think, 1 more minute on that particular animal, waiting for the contending bidder to bid again.
I feel like we should start to keep track and have like the world record of the longest auction extension. Like maybe we can keep one going for like months, right? Just with
Maybe.
one bid at a time.
Maybe. I know that the Jarnigan Freeman sale is going to do that type of bidding, so we'll have to keep an eye on that sale.
Nice. Maybe they'll be our first record holder.
Maybe.
So let's talk a little bit, Jamie, about what the main types of online only sales are. And you touched on time bidding a little bit, but we'll cover it more in depth here as well. So in the realm of online only sales, again, we're talking about for individual livestock breeders. Several types of sales formats exist to accommodate your varying preferences and requirements and everything that goes into the thought process of having a sale. So here are the main types of online only sales, usually employed by individual breeders.
So the first one is online only with photos or pre-recording videos for a set period of time. So this would be a sale similar to what like the TOBAA had, and then also the Williams sale that we have going on as well. So this type of sale allows breeders to showcase their livestock online over a pre-specified period, typically ranging 2 to 4 days. During this time, potential buyers can browse through the detailed listings, review the photos, videos, pedigree, descriptions, place bids on any of the animals they're interested in. Several people will also message us asking for a few more questions, and we always pass those questions on to the sale host. And so all your questions are welcome, and the sale hosts are always happy to answer those questions.
So this sale kind of reminds me of a silent auction in the sense that when you're walking around at an event that's having a silent auction, when you see the item that you want, you stop, you write down your bid on a piece of paper, you maybe go have dinner or drinks or, socialize, you come back to the piece of paper a few hours later, maybe place another bid. It's just like that with this type of auction, right? You know the start and end time. You know that the bidding's not going to be extended. There's no timed bidding at the end. So you really just leisurely bid at the pace that you want. If you have it set up this way, you'll get notifications if you've been outbid, so you can hop back online right away and place another bid. You could set up auto bid, but the comparison of this to a silent auction, I think, is perfect because it's essentially what it is.
Yep, that's correct. And just to mention, there's usually no live auctioneer or we say live, like in-person bidding for this type of sale. It's solely done online.
So the second type of online only sale is online only with photos or pre-recorded video for a set period of time with the extended last minute bidding that we've talked about a few times.
In this format, the online only sale operates similarly to the first type with a specific duration for bidding. However, an additional feature is introduced with the extended last minute bidding. As the initial closing time approaches, if a bid is placed within a predetermined time frame, before the closing, the sale for that particular animal is extended. This allows contending bidders a chance to increase their final bid, creating more competitive environment and potentially increasing the final sale price.
And I know you mentioned it previously, Jamie, but I think so far up to the recording of this podcast, we only had one sale use that this year. Is that right?
Mm-hmm. Yep, that's correct.
But we have one more, at least, if not a few more coming up who are going to use it.
Yep, that's right. The one that's coming up that is going to be using it is the Freeman Jarnigan Hansen sale.
Right. And regarding how it's related to Hired Hand Live, this option doesn't cost additional or anything like that. A breeder just has to let us know, yes, we want this, or no, we don't. And it's the same flat fee either way. So it's just kind of their personal preference on if they think they can leverage the time bidding to, bring in more for their animals.
All right, so the next option is online only with photos or pre-recorded video with a live auctioneer. In this format, breeders host a live auction where an auctioneer calls in remotely. They don't even need to be on site and conducts the bidding process in real time. While a live video feed is not mandatory, the auctioneer interacts with potential buyers through audio communication, accepting bids, and guiding the process while still photos and pre-recorded video clips play while there is live audio for each animal.
So we actually just recorded a podcast with Dale Hunt recently, and this is one of the things we talked about with him in it. And the story he told was that he can remember the first time that he did one of these was during COVID. Him and the auctioneer drove to, the same location. Now they wouldn't have had to, they could have each called in separately, but, then they dialed into a number and, we put the auction together, and it was different for its time, but, now I think they've definitely become more common with everyone's busy schedules.
For sure. And I think, well, that's particular sale that Dale was talking about was the Blue Ridge sale. And even since then, I believe they've done that at least 2, maybe if not 3 times since that sale as well. So it's always fun to do those sales.
Yeah, and I feel like this option adds kind of that element of excitement and urgency that you feel when you're in person, just because the auctioneer is there to pace it, right? So he's there to demand that you make up your mind quickly, with your bidding and kind of keeps it moving that way. So it almost is a hybrid of your traditional auction, with kind of the direction that the internet is taking them.
All right, so the next option is online only with live video and live auctioneer. This format is the least popular option for online sales, as many ranchers do not have the setup to accommodate holding all the animals, running them through the auction ring, that type of thing. Think of this option as identical to a live consignment sale, but without in-person crowds. This option requires both the auctioneer, pedigree reader, and ourselves, Hired Hand Live, to be there at the seller's location in person.
So I feel like, and correct me if you disagree, Jamie, but I feel like a lot of times when we get calls at first from folks who are thinking of having an online sale, this is what they think they have to do. They think, I have to get the auctioneer here. I have to get you here. I have to run all these animals through. But I feel like we mentioned so many of them don't have the facilities to do that. And it increases the cost so much when perhaps just getting real quality video of the animals out in the pasture and doing the online only with, video clips and stuff would suffice.
Definitely. And we actually had one of our sales last year. They started out wanting to do this type of sale, but then as they got going and started adding up the costs and the logistics of everything, I think then they quickly realized that that's not the type of sale that they wanted to do. Instead, they chose to do the online only sale where they had the pictures, the pre-recorded videos, and the auctioneer and pedigree reader were remote and called into the number, and he just sat back at home and took it all in and watched it happen.
Well, let's talk a little bit about how hosting an online sale has some advantages for both breeders and the buyers alike. The first thing I think we should cover is the increased reach and accessibility. Online sales basically eliminate geographical limitations, which allows the breeders or the sellers to reach a broader audience of potential buyers. So you're no longer confined to your specific part of the state or country and can connect with breeders from across the country. It increases the likelihood of finding the perfect match between the buyer and the seller.
The second thing that I think most everyone really likes is the convenience and the time efficiency. Online-only sales provide convenience for both the breeder and the buyer. Breeders can host their cattle, manage the sale process from the comfort of their own ranches. Buyers can browse and bid on the longhorns at their convenience without the need to travel long distances or attend physical auction. This time efficiency benefits all the parties involved, saving valuable time and resources.
Jamie, when you and I first got started doing this, we would always send a text message out when we were like in the middle, maybe early lots of the sale and say, hey, send us your pictures of how and where you're listening or watching on Hired Hand Live. And we'd get pictures of people in swimming pools, at the pool bar, watching on their iPads. Maybe they're on vacation looking out over, at a really nice restaurant, looking out over views. We had international travelers send us pictures. It's really cool to see from the bidder and potential buyer's perspective that they can, work this in with their schedule and still participate and be a part of the sale.
For sure. It's always fun to see those. And we still encourage to have people send us those videos from time to time.
Yes. I feel like we don't have to ask as much now because it's just habit, right? Like
right.
People love sharing where they're at watching. So another benefit to these types of sales for both buyers and breeders is the enhanced marketing opportunities. So online platforms offer a wider range of marketing tools and capabilities that can significantly enhance the promotion of the cattle that you're selling. So breeders can leverage social media, email marketing, targeted advertising, and just create that awareness and generate more interest in their cattle that they're trying to sell. They can also utilize multimedia content such as videos, virtual tours, those sorts of things to showcase the unique qualities of the animals. These marketing opportunities really help breeders attract a larger pool of potential buyers and create a competitive bidding environment.
And lastly, the transparent and secure transactions. Online-only sales provide a transparent and secure environment for conducting these types of transactions.
So let's speak a little bit now specifically to the sellers, to the breeders who would be thinking about having an online sale. And let's talk about everything that it takes to go into preparing for that online sale. So everyone, preparation is key. Everyone knows this. With anything that you do with Longhorns, it seems like preparation is key. So first and foremost, you need to select a reliable online platform or auction service that specializes in livestock sales. We hope that that's Hired Hand Live, but there's obviously a lot of, qualified companies out there that can do that. But you want to make sure when you're deciding who to work with that you're looking for platforms that have a proven track record in handling successful transactions, and offer the featured tailors to the needs of the Longhorn breeders. You also want to consider how those platforms are priced. Are they going to charge you commission? Are they going to take a percentage of your overall sales? Is it flat rate? All of those things should go into your decision when preparing for an online sale.
Another thing, as people are prepping for the sale, is to choose a date and time that accommodates yourself, of course, potential buyers, and considering factors such as industry events and holidays. We've noticed that when we try to schedule things, we always try to steer clear of, industry events and other sales that are happening, and definitely steer clear of holidays.
And it's hard, right? Like it's hard to find a 2 to 4 day period. You kind of want it over a weekend because people, will pay attention a little bit better. But it's hard to find that time period when there's not a live consignment sale to go up against. And so I think, again, reverting back to the first point, preparation is key. If you're thinking that you want to maybe have a sale in February or March of next year, you should be planning for that now. You should be figuring out your weekend now, as opposed to waiting till January and then hoping that there's, a free weekend that works for everyone.
Yeah, not only finding the weekend or time frame that works, but also, get your pictures now while the animals don't have their winter coats on and that type of thing as well.
Right. Some of the best online only sales that you and I have seen on Hired Hand Live have been planned 2 to 3 months ahead of time, and the sellers have done a great job of not only making sure the sale is good with comments, pictures, videos, all of that, but also getting the word out early so people know the sale is coming so they can anticipate that they need to save some of their purchasing budget for those animals.
And gathering the comprehensive information and documentation about the cattle that you intend to sell is critical. Providing potential buyers with the detailed descriptions, including updated information on horn measurements, breeding, pictures, the videos, that type of thing is very important as well.
And I feel like this is kind of the most daunting part of the tasks for sale hosts, right? Is they think, oh, wow, I have to get all these new photos. I have to run everyone in and get measurements and breeding updates and vaccinations and, all of that. But if you're at a point where you've decided to have a sale, you would have to do that either way, right? Whether it's a consignment or, private treaty, you're probably going to need to get that information. So it's really just having to do it all at once and in a quicker time frame to get the information out. So
one other thing that we can encourage people to do, as well as, make sure they're posting information on social media, is they're always welcome to send out additional e-blasts and text messages as well to try to gain, some traction and, make people aware that the sale is happening.
For sure.
Love what you're hearing? Be sure to check out our Pickup Truck Confessions. It's a video series where we hop in the truck or rental car and interview a variety of breeders about what drives their passion for their livestock, how they got started in the breed of their choice, marketing tips, and more. And now, back to the podcast.
So let's talk a little bit now about how to create an engaging online sales experience. To maximize the appeal and engagement of online-only sales, it's crucial to create an immersive and user-friendly experience for your potential buyers. And here are some key strategies that Jamie and I are going to talk through that we'd like you to consider.
So the first is ensuring a user-friendly interface for buyers to browse and bid on Letstock. Choose an online platform like Hired Hand that offers simple, intuitive interface as well as a solid customer support. Potential buyers should be able to easily navigate through the listings, search for specific criteria, and place bids without any technical hurdles. Also, a user-friendly interface will enhance their overall experience and encourage active participation from all potential buyers.
And this next point is going to sound repetitive because we've mentioned it a few times already, but it's one of the most important things, which is obtaining high quality photos and detailed descriptions of your animals. So visuals are so important when it comes to capturing the attention and interest of potential buyers. So you want your photographs to be high resolution and you want them to showcase the cattle from various angles. Highlight their distinctive features such as horn shape, coat color, body structure. You want to complement those images with detailed descriptions that outline the animal's pedigree and any noteworthy characteristics or awards. The goal is to paint a comprehensive picture of the animal and entice buyers with the unique qualities they possess.
So should we talk a little bit about pictures?
Sure, go for it.
All right. So things that we've noticed from, when people put their animals for sale in online only sales, or even the pictures that are sent to us for cattle, right? The pictures of the animals when they are taken from the side with the animal's head, turned towards the camera, those are always best. The other thing that we have found is that when their horns can be, up in the sky or have minimal distractions behind them, is always, more pleasing to look at than animals that have a bunch of, random items in the background.
And I think also isn't the best lighting situation is to always have the sun behind you, the photographer, not behind the animal, right?
Yep. That'll also help reduce shadow and a whole bunch of other things as well. And also to get down at the animal's level instead of taking, the picture from high above, like as you're standing, get down at their level. That helps as well.
So Jamie, you and I we called it Hired Hand for a day. And we used to go out to breeders who needed additional help getting photographs and we photographed their herds. And one of the things that we kind of found logical, at least when we did it, and maybe it was because it was the two of us working together versus a lot of times it's just one person out there, but capturing video while you're out there taking pictures is like killing two birds with one stone, right? So you get set up, you get the photos that you want with all of the, features that Jamie just mentioned. But while you're there, shoot some video, even if you aren't moving and you're just getting the gait of the animal walking or their head turning so you can see the different, angles of their horns. If you have extra time, walking around the animal and capturing video is also a plus, but anything extra that you can do while you're already out there, putting the time into getting those photos, video is always going to help an online only sale.
Definitely. And two other things to mention, and then I guess we can move on and stop talking about pictures. But two other things. One is pictures are always best when they're taken horizontal versus vertical, because most people are out there with their phones, right? And then I would say the last thing when taking pictures is to bring your patience. It usually doesn't happen right away with the first picture that you take. You usually have to take several pictures in order to get that one, perfect photo.
And one more little tip on video too, before we get off the topic, is don't be afraid if you are going to invest in the time to take video, don't be afraid to add a voiceover to it. That can just be an additional layer of marketing towards your potential buyers. Talk about the temperament of the animal, how far along she is in her breeding, who she's bred to, just use that voiceover to really sell that animal, just like your comments would if they were reading them. Pounded on pictures enough, you think?
I think so. Let's move on.
So the final tip to making your sale successful that we want to go over is providing accurate pedigrees and health records to establish trust.
So this transparency is crucial to online livestock sales. Buyers place significant value on trustworthy information. So establishing credibility through accurate documentation will definitely help gain the trust and confidence in the registered livestock being offered.
So next up on our list is we want to talk a little bit about establishing clear sale terms and conditions. I feel like some folks think that this is the internet host's responsibility, but the terms and conditions, the sale agreements, are always between you as the seller and your buyer. So it's really important that you come up with clear terms and conditions that meet the needs of your specific sale.
And clearly outlining payment and delivery options for buyers. I think this is probably one of the most significant things, in conjunction with, the trustworthiness of the information that's being put. People really like to know where the animals are located and how they're, going to make payment. Specifying the accepted form of payment, such as bank transfer, credit cards, online secure payment platforms. I know some people use PayPal, others use Venmo, and just clearly communicate those payments. The most popular options for buyers is to send a check or money order directly to the seller.
So most internet auction companies will handle the invoicing for the seller, but it is still up to the seller to handle everything after the payment is received, such as clearance, pickup, drop-off, coordination, all of those sorts of things. One of the pieces of advice that we often give folks when they call about hosting an online sale is to think about what live sales are around you during that time of year. So, for example, say that you're a breeder located in Oklahoma who wants to have an online only sale, and maybe you look at having your sale 2 weeks or so before a live event that's in Oklahoma, because then folks are already going to be in that area to, participate in that event, and it's not going to be as painful for them to make a trip there to pick up their purchases, or possibly for you to offer free hauling to that event for, the first 10 people that tell you they want space on your trailer.
Another thing that's important is to include any guarantees or warranties about the cattle that you're selling. If you're offering any guarantees or warranties for the livestock you're selling, clearly state that in the terms and conditions. Specify the duration of the guarantee and the circumstances under which it applies. This ensures that both parties, the buyer and the seller, have a clear understanding of the protections provided. It just helps build trust in the sale.
So this next point is a big topic for Jamie and I to cover. And that is setting realistic reserves or minimum bids. And trust us when we tell you this can make or break your sale. To protect your interest as a seller, but also have a successful online only sale, it's so important to set realistic reserves and or starting bids for your cattle. You need to clearly communicate these reserves or minimums to potential buyers, as it's going to help manage their expectations. Setting appropriate reserves or minimums contributes to a successful sale outcome for both parties.
So if your goal is to sell every animal in your online only sale, then make sure they're priced accordingly. There's been so many times that we've seen sellers miss out on making a sale over $100 because a reserve was that close to being met. Also about reserves is once the auction is started, the reserves cannot be changed. So it's just another thing to keep in mind when you're setting reserves. But many times after an online only sale has ended, going back to the highest bidder won't work to finalize a sale because the excitement of bidding online for them, it's over.
Quality internet bidding companies should also be able to set a variety of starting bids for your animals. So your online sale doesn't have to be a one size or one price fits all type of approach. You can have, let's say you have 20 lots in your sale. You can have 5 that have higher starting bids than the other 15, just because, they're a higher quality animal that you feel like should have a higher starting bid. Jamie, what do you feel like is an ideal starting bid this year in this market for online only sale animals?
Wow, it really puts us on the spot here. I can tell you one of the most successful sales that we had this year so far. When we were talking with her about what she should have for the starting price, we suggested $300. Knowing $300 is low, for the price of an animal. However, what that does though is when somebody bids on it, it gets them I don't know if it's emotionally attached or they just want to be competitive, they're going to bid again when they're outbid. And a lot of times this will get the bidding going a lot quicker than what it will if the animal is listed at, say, 1,000.
I feel like 1,000 is kind of everyone's knee-jerk reaction, right? Like, oh, the floor should be 1,000. That's where we want to start all the animals. But when you think about an online only auction, again, if we go back to that silent auction approach, right? Like a lot of people, I think, consider this, someone might be less inclined to place a bid for 1,000 or $1,100 or $1,250, whatever the increments are, than they would be for, $600, $800. So it's painful to think that you are offering an animal under, what you consider maybe the minimum average, but remember that you're not selling it for that amount. You're just trying to get the bidding to get momentum and end at the highest possible price by the end of the sale.
And a lot of times when people have started their animals out at, 300, the price has almost always gotten to that $1,000 mark. So it works out. In the end, it all works out. It's just a little bit of a, step back, or you have to take a breath and, think about it for a second when the starting price is 300.
And when you say it gets to that $1,000 amount, you mean like it gets there quickly and then continues to go up from there because people know the value of the cattle, but it's not like it hangs out at $300 for days. You're saying it accelerates to $1,000 pretty quickly. So how about now we talk a little bit and give some advice to those, again, who would serve as a host to an online only sale, and talk about part of the management process.
So effectively managing online only sale process for breeders is crucial to ensure a successful and seamless experience for both the seller and the buyer. So the first thing to managing an online sale is providing prompt and helpful communication with potential buyers. You want to make sure to maintain open lines of communication throughout the whole entire sale process, respond to inquiries and messages from the potential buyers promptly, providing them with the information they need to make those informed decisions to continue bidding. Again, be attentive and courteous in addressing their concerns and demonstrating your commitment to customer service.
So you're still building trust during this process, just like you would if you were visiting, out in the alley in front of your animal's pen with, potential bidders that are walking by. You have to build their trust and you have to be quick to answer their questions.
Yeah, and I don't know that I've ever seen a seller, whether it's in person at a sale or online, they've never not answered a question that I'm aware of. They're always happy to answer those questions, no matter how big or small, or maybe, you may think it's a silly question, but the buyer is always willing to respond.
And as a sale host, when you're feeling out your buyers, you can usually tell, like, if there are some serious ones, maybe they're going to buy a large quantity, maybe they're looking at a high dollar animal. But encouraging pre-sale inspections or consultations for those serious buyers can really get you a lot further and get you a lot more with those animals. So if you have serious buyers who are expressing a really strong interest in your animals that you have in the sale, offer them an opportunity to visit the animals in person or arrange a virtual meeting, FaceTime with them to discuss specific details or address any concerns that they may have. Sometimes just that extra step of, being willing to have a FaceTime call, get that animal on camera again for them. That's not a recording, so they can see her condition and her, the way that she's changed since the photos maybe. Just that personalized attention is really going to demonstrate your commitment to customer satisfaction, but also your ability to stand behind your breeding program.
Definitely. And it also just, goes back to the whole trustworthiness as well. It builds that trust with the buyer and the seller as well.
Sale hosts do have some post-sale responsibilities, and one of those would be coordinating the logistics of transporting the livestock to their new owners. So we touched on this a little bit previously about, considering if there's a live sale in your area kind of around the time of your sale. But ultimately, the most important thing is that you have to work closely with the buyers to coordinate the logistics of transportation. So you need to provide guidance on either recommending haulers and transportation methods and connecting buyers with those services and haulers if needed, or you yourself need to ensure if hauling is something that you're offering included in the price or, as part of the auction, you need to make sure that the animals are safely and securely transported. And one of the most important little extras that we can add about this is make sure that your payments have cleared before releasing any animals.
I know with some of the sales that we have coming up, they're kind of doing, each of them are kind of doing their own thing as far as, the transportation or the logistics of the animals. With the Hanson Freeman sale, I'm pretty certain with that sale, they are asking people to come to the ranch and pick up the animals, whether it's them or they've hired a hauler. And with the Jason Hartpence, his sale that's coming up, he is trying to work with haulers in Texas, Oklahoma area to see if he can list them on his sale, as somebody that potential buyers can contact, which is always so helpful for people when they're bidding online to know that, certain people are available for hauling around the time of the sale.
I think it's also helpful for people to know, are you willing to keep the animal at your house for 2 to 3 more weeks if that's how long it takes for me to get there, if I purchased it, or do you need it gone by the Sunday after the sale ends? So, those sorts of things, again, are important to pre-advertise so buyers and bidders are aware of that.
So another thing we're talking about transportation, and of the animal. Another thing that people need to be sure of is the documentation and transfer of ownership of the animal that was just purchased. They need to provide the necessary paperwork, such as the registration certificate, health records, and any other relevant documents. A lot of times, or sometimes, this will be the first time that some people have purchased an animal from somebody else. So it's always good if they can kind of help guide the new buyer through the process of updating the owner information and assist in any required, administrative tasks, whether that's, getting a hold of the TLBAA or the ITLA, or, walking them through how to transfer the animal on their website, that type of thing. It's just good to have clear and accurate documentation to ensure, the smooth transaction and legal transfer of ownership.
And we're always happy at Hired Hand to transfer the animals from your website to the new owner's website. But I think it's a common misconception that we do anything with the actual transfers. That's always up to the sale host to handle the actual registration transfers.
One thing with one of the sales that happened recently with the Bolin sale, Cindy had asked us, not to transfer any of her cows that she sold at the sale because she wanted to do it herself. One thing that I know Cindy does, which she's always really great about sale comments and, communicating and that type of thing. But when she transfers the animal, she also puts a little personal note in there as well when she makes that transfer from her website over to somebody else's website.
Another thing that sale hosts need to consider is just how to maintain good relationships with buyers for potential future sales. So a couple of times now, we won't name any names, but a couple of times we've done a dispersal sale for the same person. And so you never know. It just goes to prove you never know when you're going to have another sale, right? You might think you're only ever going to have one online only sale, and then 4 sales later, you're still going strong. So just make sure that you're always engaging your buyers with follow-up communications. Like Jamie just mentioned, how Cindy adds personal little notes. You always want to be expressing gratitude for their participation, checking on their satisfaction with the animals that they purchased. Really just cultivate those positive relationships because they can lead to repeat business and potential future sales. And then that also opens the window, if you do have more sales, to keep those buyers informed about the dates and the inventory that are going to be in those as well.
So when you're thinking of a name for your online sale, we always find that it's very important for people to mention the word online or online only somewhere in the sale title, just so that it's clear immediately to people who may be bidding, that it is online and the cattle have to be, either located in Texas or Oklahoma or Virginia or wherever where their ranch is.
I think another thing to consider is just, is this going to be a sale that you are putting on every year? Or is this maybe like a one-time sale where you just have too many animals, or you're cutting back, maybe you've retired and you just don't want to run as many head? The example that comes to mind for me is the stocking stuffer sale. I think Mike Casey has done an excellent job of branding that sale. So folks know that every winter, they have that to look forward to. And, year after year, it has the same marketing, it carries the same, quality. And he named it really well to instantly be associated with the holidays, and also some of the charitable causes that, also some of the charities that he donates to through that sale.
So Molly, I have a fun fact for you. Last year in 2022, we hosted 6 online sales, I believe. Any guesses as to what the gross was for all 6 of those sales combined?
I'm going to say, and I might be privy to some information, I'm going to say $250,000.
Yes, so close. Yes, it was 247,000. So you're very close. Yes. So it proves that the sales, they work, and people definitely do move cows when needed with online only sales.
And so far, at the time of this recording, we also have 6 online only sales scheduled or booked, or already happened or going to happen in 2023. So in wrapping this up, Jamie, I think we can just say that hosting a successful online only sale requires a combination of strategic planning, effective communication, and embracing technology. By following a lot of the tips that we outlined here in the podcast, but also adapting to the ever-evolving landscape, breeders can maximize their sales potential, foster positive buyer experiences, and contribute to the growth and success of the Longhorn industry.
So if having an online sale is something that you're considering, but you have more questions, or you want to have a sale and you want to pick your date, feel free to always reach out to us. You can email us at info@hiredhandsoftware.com.